Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. So today I've got a match for you in the Early Access Japanese Tier 4 Tech Tree Cruiser, the Agano. You can see we're on New Dawn, we're top tier. There is a fail division. In our division, we have a Kohlberg on our team. Is the Kohlberg responsible for our loss here on New Dawn? Well, that remains to be seen. Did I say it was a capture of the base match? It is one. All right, so we're moving out on the Agano. So really, my impression of these ships is that they're a little teeny bit more torpedo focused, but that being said, you're not going to be doing a lot of damage with torpedoes unless you get very lucky. That's just my opinion. So far I'm playing them. Got about 15 games in the Agano. I got one game in the Tier 5. You already saw that video on Tuesday. I had a hard time getting a good game in the Agano. That's just truthful. Most of those matches I was down tier. This is one of the two matches where I was up tier out of all the matches I played in this ship. I think a lot of people were playing the Mysore, and maybe that skewed the matches I was getting put into. But you're an HE spammer, so let's start by HE spamming a Phoenix. And you can see you got pretty low shell trajectory. I like that. Something you don't have is good AA. You don't have a choice. You have to mount the plane consumable as opposed to DFAA. You will need the plane consumable. Here we're just going to launch our plane and dodge the one torpedo on natural. But yes, you have poor AA in these cruisers, so keep that in mind. All right, Hawkins looks like just shot at us. We're going to avoid that. And we're just going to spam some more HE out there and keep maneuvering around this island while our plane fails to shoot down any of the enemy airplanes. So even though you have a fighter plane, in my opinion, not particularly strong, it's going up against a Tier 3 carriers planes and didn't shoot any of them down there. I don't think I've ever shot a plane down with one of the Agano's airplanes. So my opinion of the airplanes on Japanese cruisers at low tiers is that they are weak. All right, still shooting at Hawkins. We are spotted. Right now, I'm just trying to get into a place in the open water where I can launch torpedoes against a willing target. There is a Wyoming, going to try to set him on fire. Still thinking about the Hawkins, working on a reload. There is one salvo of torpedoes out. On the Hawkins, we are going to turn away as we continue to shoot HE. We are being targeted. For this match, I'm using Genichi Mikawa as my commander. We're going to go over that in the port. Of course, if you're playing the game right now, when this update is in session, you're going to be trying to get the new commander, which does a little bit more for torpedo damage. Seeing a few people talking about that commander and saying, hey, he's really more biased towards torpedoes in general, almost like a destroyer commander instead of a cruiser commander. Anyway, we're continuing to fire. I don't think anything, pardon me, meaningful is going to occur right now, so I want to talk about the history of the Agano. Lead ship for class 4 light cruisers built for the IJN during World War II. Escorted a troop convoy to New Guinea in 1942. 1943 participated in Operation Key, that's KE as opposed to KII. Evacuation of Japanese troops from Guadalcanal. 6 months later, transported troops and supplies to New Guinea. Minor role in the Battle of Empress Augusta Bay. I watched a lot of World War II stuff. I've never heard of that battle. Badly damaged a couple weeks later by American airstrikes. Sailed for Truk under her own power the following day. While en route, torpedoed by the USS Skate. That is a submarine. February 44. Most of her crew was rescued by the escorting destroyer, who they do not name in Wikipedia. But that ship was sunk with the loss of most of her crew, and all of the Agano survivors by an American airstrike on the following day. All right, so that wasn't good. We are moving back into the middle of the map. I think I found my attempts to find better targets to be a little fruitless over on the right side of the map. So I cut it back inside, finally get a torpedo strike, and set some more fires. The Hawkins is continuing to motor around out there. We'll continue to shoot at the Hawkins, but that's just more a target of opportunity than anything else. Right now, looking up at the scoreboard, we have lost 2 ships. The enemy's only lost 1 ship. And I don't know if the first ship killed was that down to your cruiser or not. All right, well, there's another death on our team. I'm just continuing trying to farm damage in the Agano. Continuing to shoot at the Hawkins while we do that. I'm going to quickly go to wiki.wargaming.net to give you some shell stats. Maximum dispersion, 119 meters. HE shell velocity and AP shell velocity are the same at 850 meters per second. Shell weight, 45.4 kilos. Again, the same as the Gokazi, which we reviewed on Monday. I interviewed the Gokazi. That'd be a funny trick. All right, my teammate is crying out for help here. I am going to maneuver towards him because I'm a good teammate. I also tell him I'm going to help him out, which may be a lie because he's about to get killed. But that being said, I did head that way. And we are continuing to engage the Hawkins, who I believe is about to be victimized. Never mind. The Hawkins, I think, just killed somebody. And he's kind of not in a way I want him to be. We get airstruck by the carrier. Meanwhile, my teammate does get taken out by one of the enemy ships. We're continuing to shoot at the Hawkins. This time we're shooting armor piercing. I thought he might flatten out, so I thought I might try the armor piercing. Try another salvo of armor piercing while we're gauging the enemy battleship, which is an Agano. And I didn't get a lot of love in any of that AP, so we're probably going to switch back to HE. First, I'm going to shoot some torpedoes at the Agano. More AP loaded. We are going to go back to the well against the Hawkins. And not really any joy there. One more salvo of AP. I don't know why I keep shooting AP. It doesn't do anything. I don't think any of those shells penetrated. Now we have smartly switched back to HE, finally. And, okay, we didn't set any fires or anything, and that guy gets taken out right as we were about to shoot. Alright, so far this has been pretty boring for the Agano. That being said, we do have 62,000 damage. The pace is about to pick up a little bit here. And before that happens, pardon me, we're going to be engaged by the enemy destroyer and the battleship and a cruiser way over there. So I'm going to put my bow towards the closer enemy because we have that island to protect us. Looks like another Phoenix is shooting at us, so I'm going to engage him. While trying to close the distance, I get run into by a friendly destroyer. We're just going to ignore that. He clears me, and that's good. Continuing to shoot at the Phoenix. And nothing much happening there. I think that is the destroyer. A Clemson trying to shoot me over the corner of the island. We're going to hit him with a pretty good salvo right here. And gauging him by torpedo. We're going to keep trying to engage him with guns. The front turrets hit the island, do a little landscaping. The second turret makes contact, but at this point, he is not going to come around the island. So, checking for the Phoenix, don't see him, launch a plane. I want to know where the battleship is. And so in a minute here, we're going to come around the corner and fail a double strike. But it was a good attempt anyway. Alright, here we are coming around the mountain. We are going to send our torpedoes towards the battleship. We take secondary fire from the Agano. There is the salvo on the Clemson. He is dead. We are going to turn away from the Agano to minimize our angle the best we can. As you can see, the secondaries are pummeling me. 10 seconds is up. Here come the torpedoes. No double strike. But there are 3 torpedoes. High caliber metal, killed number 2, and a dev strike on the Agano. And we are over 100,000 damage. So this ship has the potential, if you can get those torpedoes to strike targets, to do a lot of damage. I don't know if this is a damage record or anything. I kind of doubt it is. But that being said, this ship isn't loaded into WoW's builds yet, so I can't submit this game for any kind of record yet anyway. Even if I did, I would expect it would be surpassed pretty quickly. Because with this ship, if you're spamming those torpedoes at the faraway battleship targets, they're slow moving and perpendicular to you, you're probably going to, or I'm sorry, moving parallel to your torpedoes anyway. All right, parallel to you, perpendicular to your torpedoes. That's what I meant. You could do a ton of damage in this ship. The torpedoes hit pretty hard. I think they do around 17,000 damage. So it's entirely possible that if you were in a down tier match with a ton of battleships and maybe a couple of destroyers, no aircraft carriers, you took out the destroyers, and then you could torp kind of at will at the battleships from quasi stealth. I think it's probably about 3 kilometers of a stealth window. It looks like 9.1 for a concealment. I think the torpedoes go 12. So you got 3 kilometer stealth window there to be able to torp at the battleships from farther away. Just really depends on how much maneuvering they're doing, if they're varying their course. If they don't turn, I think there's a lot of ability to do damage in the ship. All right, moving in on the cap circle, they are trying to cap our base. This is some of the worst destroyer play I've ever seen in my life. I turn on my plane, I turn on my sonar, and a kamikaze decides, hey, let's rush the Agano. This is a great idea. Now he's spotting me. He should be launching torpedoes right now and turning away. He is not doing that. He is moving to contact. Please do not do this if you are on the kamikaze. Confederate metal unlocked. We dodge carrier aircraft. We are lighting up the kamikaze now. He is in my sonar range. You can throw up all the smoke screens you want. It won't help you. And we are nuking him here with HE. Just our front turrets. Here come the torpedoes. We see them right out of the tube because our sonar is going. Dodge more aircraft stuff. Continuing to shoot at the kamikaze. And we are going to finish him off for our 3rd kill. 125,000 damage. Salt the wound, big boy. We're going to salt the wound right here. That's what you get for being dumb. Dumb. Don't play like that in a kamikaze. Your torpedoes and your stealth are your 2 greatest weapons. Use it that way. You should never move to contact with a cruiser. That doesn't make sense. All right. We have got the Wyoming out there still. I am going to try some of my long-range torping. Now, I torped to the right side of the island and then into the middle of the gap. I probably should have waited a little bit to get a full spread instead of overlapping them. But then I'm like, I see the carrier planes coming in. I don't have a lot of health, so I'm going to go bow away and hope to mitigate some of this incoming damage. And I'm doing that because I think, although going towards the target is a better idea when it comes to dodging incoming fire, because I think it's harder to judge an incoming ship than an outgoing ship. That being said, we dodged the carrier attack. We shot down some more. Not having a problem shooting down an airplane. That being said, my fighter plane didn't shoot down a single airplane in air-to-air combat. All right, so now we're turning, using the island as cover. I'm hoping that the Wyoming runs into these torpedoes. We aren't going to win this game. The other ship is the carrier, and I have no idea where he is. Dodging some incoming fire there. I think the carrier's about to pop up at the front of the cab. I wouldn't have been able to kill them both. If I had gotten a torpedo strike on the Wyoming, I would have just been able to salvage that part and get a little more damage. That being said, time's about to run out. We did not get killed. So that's good maneuvering, I guess, on my part. The carrier's up. The game is over. All right, so here we are on the defeat screen. High caliber medal, devastating strike medal, Confederate medal, 127,423 total damage, 4 torpedo strikes, shot down 13 airplanes, 3 kills, 6 fires, 4 cap defended flags. We ended up with just short of 330,000 silver, 3,200 ship XP, 3,500 commander XP in the loss in the Agano. So my other matches weren't great. This match, damage potential is definitely there. All right, here we are at the top of the board. 2106 base XP, 3 medals, 3 big kills. The best game for any ship on both teams. If that had been a win, this would have been about 3,100 base XP if I did the calculations correctly. So disappointing that we did not get the win, but we dominated both teams in this match. And I think it's a good illustration of the Agano's power. I'm not a cruiser player, as you know. That's a pretty solid game that I'll hang my hat on in this ship. All right, upgrades. Just one aiming system mod 1. We fully upgraded the ship. It's actually got a wreath around it, so it's all the way maxed out. Loadout, 4 charges of the sonar. I do want to note the torpedo detectability is the same range as the ship detectability, 3.9 km, and I think that's unusual. I don't pay attention to a lot of the stats like that, but I think it's unusual to have the torpedo and ship detectability to be the same. So take advantage of that if you can. 4 charges of catapult fighter. They refuse to give us the stats on these. I don't think this catapult fighter can shoot down anything. We're using the IJN camo because this ship didn't come with camo. I may put the IJN camo on it and the 1-year strong flag. Specs, 25,800 hit points and a 4% torpedo damage reduction with our build. All right, we got those 3 twin 152 millimeter turrets, 13.4 kilometer firing range, 8.5 second reload, 23.7 second turn time. HE shells 2600 max damage, 13% fire chance. AP shells 2900 max damage. 2 twin 76.2 millimeter secondaries, 4.7 kilometer firing range. Reload every 2.4 seconds, I think. HE shells 1300 max damage with a 4% fire chance. Don't expect much from your secondaries. 2 quad launchers, reload every 105 seconds. Max damage 17,333. 12.5 kilometer range at 60 knots. The detectability is 1,600 meters. AA defense, your secondaries are dual purpose and do count as AA. They're your longest reaching AA, 3.5 kilometers. Your best AA, the 8x3 25 millimeter type 96 mod 1, 49 damage per second. Pretty weak AA. We had about 13 planes shot down, so not terrible, but not great. 38.6 knots in the water. I'd consider that a strong point. 690 meter turning circle, 6.1 second rudder shift time. Concealment 9.1 on the surface, 6 flat from the air, 4.8 when firing in smoke. All right, on to the stats. We have played 13 matches in the Agano, 8 wins, 5 losses. Main battery actually 41%, torpedo accuracy 6%. I think they're just too slow and too visible to get more hits at range. Kill death ratio of 1.0, as you can see, rather low damage average. Again, most of our matches have been down tier. The ship doesn't do well down tier in the hands of a player like me. But that game you just saw is responsible for most of these highest battle achievements. And again, I'm pretty happy with that game. I think the potential in the ship to do more damage is easily there. in the hands of a skilled player, which I'm not when it comes to cruisers. All right, very similar armor scheme to the ship we looked at before, the Gokazi. Again, you've got this stepped up, stepped down, 3 portion Citadel with the armor belt built into the Citadel. Again, that doesn't provide a lot of armor, in my opinion. 55 meters on the front part, 60 on the side. So that's a little bit less than Gokazi. We are going to put the bow on. Here is just a 13 millimeter bow. The heavier parts of the armor are all underneath the ship, which doesn't do you much good when that's not where people shoot you at. Turrets and barbettes. Barbettes slightly more armored than the turrets. I think these turrets have a little bit more armor than Gokazi. This side plating is 16, which I find very odd that they would change it. So maybe that's a balancing mechanism. I think the real ship had 16 all the way around. All right, here's the commander I'm using for now, Genichi Mikawa. Base trait Clandestine is cruiser concealment, Scott for accuracy, Swirsky for more concealment, Ingenious in row 1, full speed ahead in row 2, Velocious in row 3, steer clear in row 4, and of course fully packed. That is by the book, probably one of the most worthless legendary skills outside of Leviathan. All right, folks, that is the Agano. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe down below. See you next week.